When Sarah Collins was handed her termination letter, her hands trembled. The paper felt heavier than it should have, heavier than the rent she couldn't pay, the grocery list she couldn't afford, and the tears she couldn't shed in front of her son. All she did was help someone. That was her only mistake. She didn't know the stranger she had helped that morning, a quiet man with messy hair and worn-out shoes, was not just anyone. He was Alexander Reed, the elusive billionaire CEO of the company she worked for, disguised as an ordinary customer to observe how his employees treated people. And while everyone else ignored him, Sarah stopped, smiled, and offered kindness she could barely afford to give. Now, sitting in her dimly lit apartment, clutching the letter that ended her only job, Sarah whispered, "How do I tell Ethan I lost it again?" But before she could even figure out how to start over, a black luxury car pulled up outside her window. A man stepped out, the same stranger she helped that morning, holding something that would change her life forever. If this story touched your heart, show your love, like, share, and comment your thoughts. Sarah Collins was 29, a single mom working 2 jobs just to keep her small apartment running. Every morning she packed her 6-year-old son Ethan's lunch, tied his shoes, and kissed his forehead before heading to the city bus stop. Her smile never revealed the exhaustion behind it. Life hadn't been fair to her, but she had learned to smile anyway. She worked as a cashier at Bennett's Grocery, a busy supermarket chain that prided itself on serving with a smile. Her supervisor, Natalie Gray, didn't believe in smiles unless they led to sales. "No time for distractions, Sarah," she'd always snap. "You want hours, you earn them." That morning was especially hard. The rent was due, her fridge was nearly empty, and Ethan had asked for something she couldn't give, a birthday cake. "We'll get it soon, honey," she had promised, though she had no idea how. The rain had stopped just as she reached work. The store was buzzing with customers, and Sarah took her place behind the register, scanning items and greeting everyone with that same warm voice she was known for. It was around noon when she noticed a man by the entrance. He looked completely out of place, wearing an old hoodie, slightly torn jeans, and holding a small paper bag that looked damp from the drizzle. He seemed lost, unsure, invisible in the crowd of rushing customers. "Excuse me, sir, are you okay?" Sarah called out softly. He looked startled, his eyes tired yet kind. "I dropped my wallet somewhere outside. I just wanted to get a bottle of water. I'll pay once I find it." Before Sarah could respond, Natalie's voice cut through the store like a blade. "Sarah, what are you doing chatting while there's a line?" Sarah smiled nervously. "Sorry, Natalie, he just let him deal with it himself," Natalie said sharply. "We're not a charity." The man lowered his head, murmured an apology, and turned to leave. But Sarah couldn't ignore the sight, his shoes soaked, hands shaking slightly from cold. "Wait," she said, reaching into her apron pocket. She took out 2 crumpled dollar bills, her own. "Here, just take it, it's okay." The man hesitated, his eyes meeting hers. "You don't have to." "I want to," she interrupted gently. "Please." He accepted it with quiet gratitude. "Thank you, you're the first person today who didn't treat me like I didn't exist." Sarah smiled. "Everyone deserves kindness, right?" He nodded slowly, staring at her as if memorizing her words. "You're right." Moments later, as Sarah returned to her register, Natalie's voice struck again. "Office, now." Inside the manager's office, Natalie's tone was ice. "You just gave away store money." "No, it was mine." "I don't care whose money it was. You broke policy by assisting a non-paying customer. That's considered misconduct." Sarah blinked in disbelief. "Misconduct for helping someone?" "Yes, and we can't risk liability. I'll be writing you up." By evening, the write-up turned into a dismissal. Sarah was told to clear her locker immediately. Her name tag, her only symbol of stability, was taken. She left quietly, clutching her worn-out purse and a folded termination letter. That night she sat with Ethan, pretending everything was fine. "So, champ, how was school?" she asked, forcing a smile. "It was good. Miss Harper said I'm getting better at reading." Ethan grinned proudly. "Can we get pizza tomorrow?" Sarah hesitated, her throat tightening. "Maybe next week, sweetheart." After putting him to bed, she sat by the window, staring at the rain returning outside. Her reflection looked tired, but the kindness in her eyes hadn't faded. Across town, in a high-rise penthouse, Alexander Reed removed the worn hoodie and jeans, placing them on the couch. His assistant, Liam, looked puzzled. Sir, you actually went through with the undercover visit? Yes, Alexander replied quietly. I needed to see how our employees treat people who seem unimportant. And, Liam asked. Alexander leaned against the window watching the city lights. Most ignored me, some mocked me, but one woman, Sarah Collins, helped without hesitation. He picked up the small crumpled bills she had given him, still damp from rain. She paid for my water with her own money, then she was fired for it. Liam frowned. Fired? That's unacceptable. Alexander's voice deepened. It's cruel, and it's not how I want this company to be. The next morning, Sarah woke up early, not because she had somewhere to go, but because habit didn't let her rest. She made Ethan breakfast and walked him to school. As she watched him wave goodbye, she whispered to herself, I'll figure it out, I always do. When she returned home, a sleek black car was parked outside her building. A tall man in a suit stepped out holding a small envelope. Miss Sarah Collins, he asked. Yes, he smiled faintly. Mr. Reed would like to see you, she frowned. Who? Alexander Reed, CEO of Bennett's Grocery, Sarah froze. Is this about my termination? Yes, he replied simply. Nervous and confused, she followed the driver downtown to a towering glass building, the same place she used to send invoices to. Now she was walking through its marble halls, clutching her purse like a shield. Inside the top-floor office, Alexander stood by the window, dressed sharply but with the same warmth she had seen yesterday. You, she whispered, realization dawning. You're the man from the store, he nodded, and you're the only person who treated me with dignity. I didn't know. You didn't need to, he said gently. That's what makes it special. He placed the termination letter on his desk, torn neatly in half. You didn't deserve this. Natalie's no longer with the company. Sarah's eyes widened. I wasn't trying to cause trouble. You didn't, he interrupted kindly. You reminded me what our company lost, humanity. Walked to a cabinet and pulled out a folder. I want you to lead our new community outreach program. It's designed to help struggling families. You'll have flexible hours, a full salary, and benefits for you and your son. Tears welled in Sarah's eyes. You're offering me a new job, he smiled softly. I'm offering you a chance to do what you already do best, help people. For the first time in months, Sarah's shoulders relaxed. I don't know what to say. Say you'll accept, Alexander said. Because the world needs more people like you. Sarah nodded, tears streaming freely. Then yes, I accept. As she left the office, sunlight broke through the clouds, a warmth she hadn't felt in so long. Later that evening, she picked up Ethan from school. Mommy got a new job, she said, smiling. Really? He beamed. So we can get pizza, Sarah laughed, hugging him tight. Yes, sweetheart, and maybe even that cake. Across the street from his car, Alexander watched them quietly, the woman who lost everything for kindness and the boy who gave her reason to keep going. He smiled to himself and whispered, sometimes it takes losing everything to remind us what truly matters. And somewhere in the heart of the city, kindness had just found its way back home. Kindness costs nothing, but it changes everything.